Hi guys, my name is Truss or Truce depending on your dialect. As you can tell, this is a very improv video for my 20th birthday, which is occurring at the time you are viewing this video on Twitter. We're going to talk about my birthday, my 20th birthday, because I'm very narcissistic and pretentious.
There was a huge fight whether or not Roblox YouTubers could come because they're useless and don't contribute.
As you may have probably noticed by now, I figured what's the best thing to do for my birthday? And I realized I already have everything I need for my birthday. I don't know what else I could possibly wish for besides for a Tesla. What I'm trying to say is that I already have a lot, not only for my family, support-wise, but the love and engagement I receive from you guys and your constant support on my Roblox UGC items. And I wanted to give back. I love giving in the wholesome way, I mean. I really do love giving. I love putting smiles on people's faces while at the same time putting smiles on my face. I call that a win-win situation. So, as you may have noticed, throughout June and the first week of July, I released some colorful items on the Roblox UGC lineup. Throughout June and the first week of July, relating to Roblox LGBT fandom, I mean the LGBT community. My goal was to make people comfortable and welcoming on the platform of Roblox, and it appears I've successfully done that.
Truss is one of the original creators in Roblox's user-generated content program. He has made millions from the program, which is notorious for thoroughly vetting their creators due to the fact that Roblox is enabling these people to have a massive amount of influence through their creations, position on the platform, and copious amounts of money they make from it. I personally have never brought into the furries are all porn-addicted weirdos stereotype that exists on the internet, and have given all furries that I have interacted with a fair chance just like anyone else I meet. Yet Truss has gone above and beyond in bringing down the furry community and reinforcing these stereotypes with his actions both on and off the platform. He has been endorsed by some of the largest, most prolific creators and influencers on the platform, being branded as an upstanding individual by nearly everyone who interacts with him.
She found a way into my heart. She don't make up, no, she make art. And I need a way to treat it, cause I keep getting high.
Since late 2021, Truss has been a member of a Discord known as Der Rote Circus, which is a German translation of the Red Circus. The Red Circus is a community of furries, neo-Nazis, and Roblox UGC creators aging in range from high school to adulthood. This community, despite not being branded as an NSFW community, has been dedicated to nearly nothing but the discussion of NSFW topics from its inception. Things like planned orgies, drug use, procurement of firearms, and proliferation of pornography involving animals are routinely discussed and encouraged in this community. Truss has been extremely active in this community, sending over 4,843 messages in it and meeting with many of its members in real life. Before we venture into the true nature of this community, we need to begin by dispelling the notion that there are no kids here.
I know that you'd be bad from the minute I saw you.
Zero trust for someone whose entire Twitter personality is nothing but a defamation spree. Discord screenshots are rampantly fabricated these days for malicious purposes, misinformation, and scams. Even if this is real, you're repeatedly remove context and replace it with children.
But what Sigma is saying is that how do you know that this evidence isn't fake? There's no way that you can prove it is. I've known Truss for a while. He's such a gentle person. Plus, this evidence is from an account that has a history of starting shit.
People like this is why fake news is dangerous.
Paige Simmons, Evan Bear 1, and Sigma Tech are just three of the many people who defend Truss, claiming that these claims are fake news, that there are no children in the server, and that Truss would never do such a thing. It must be understood that these are exceptionally fake people. Paige and Sigma both admit that they have zero clue what they are talking about, yet insist on doubling down that this is all made up, and that Truss's previous actions that were exposed to be true were simply flukes. It got so bad that both eventually went from extreme aggression and arrogance to claiming that they had no clue what this was about, and did not want to get involved, despite choosing to comment on the topic in the first place and firmly assert that it was fake. Once it is socially acceptable to ostracize Truss for his actions, they will inevitably turn against him, pretending to have never defended him in the first place, or even saying that they had no clue this stuff existed, despite the evidence existing for years in the open. Paige even went so far as to stop replying entirely but continue liking tweets defending her point after a literal video of the messages she called fake was posted. But sure, let's play the game of, there's no way they're talking like this to kids. This section of the video will recount the interactions of two high schoolers in the server, both of whom were extensively involved in adults' discussions, interactions, and content exchanges despite the server moderation staff knowing full and well that they were in high school. On May 21, 2022, user Hyroth claimed to be graduating high school. Let's focus our search exclusively on messages coming from before this day, so that we can narrow down all of the things he was exposed to while still in high school by these supposed upstanding UGC creators. 1 month before Jay graduated high school, he participated in discussions about the size of Dino pussy. He conversed with server boosters about sexy dragons. He commented on YIF content, which is furry porn which was being shared in both their general and NSFW channels. He commented on graphic description of animal genitalia drawn in a cartoony manner, so as to evade criticisms of bestiality. He participated in discussions about sexualized images of children's show characters with server moderators. He liked the naked farmer dog being posted by some other active members of the community. He enjoyed some custom art from some of the more popular creators in the community. He commented on animal penis with one of the server's many upstanding adults. He partook in an academic discussion with Who to Trust and the server's moderation team of whether he had a dump truck, as he discussed the purchase of a $100 airplane dildo with the server's moderation team. A dildo that they would go on to purchase and share within the server. They shared animal pornography of crows, which happened to be extremely popular in the server thanks to Hoodatress's persona being a crow. There are hundreds of other screenshots to pick from, but I hope this conveyed the point of the experience that just this one minor had in the Red Circus. But let's not just stop with him. User Micro was 17 in 2022, when he participated in a discussion with Red Circus moderators about how very high he was off the edibles that he just took. One moderator actually took the time to ask if he was a child, and in a crazy turn of events, admitted that he thought this person with NSFW permissions and messages was only 15 years old. Upon learning that this person was 17 and not 15, the conversation about the inebriation of this teenager carried on like nothing had happened. We can say from personal experience that upon infiltrating the server, we only had to post some kawaii emojis and furry content to be granted NSFW access. The owners of the server claim that they don't just give out NSFW access willy-nilly, but this is patently false since it took us just under 10 minutes to receive it with 0 forms of age verification.
But somehow I keep running back to you.
Last year, Who to Trust went on a massive Twitter hiatus following the fallout from his actions with a 15-year-old. Keep in mind that what you just saw was Who to Trust in private. You would think that perhaps with millions of dollars and the adorations of thousands of fans on the line, he would not take this behavior into his public persona. However, the tale of 15-year-old Johnny Soleil tells an entirely different story. Truss and Johnny had developed quite the unique relationship, playing games together and becoming well known in their social circles for being a little too cozy with one another despite the age gap. They would routinely flirt on one another's Twitter timelines, with Truss actually tweeting out to ask Johnny to Roblox Homecoming at one point. He had interactions like this with kids all over the platform, including a 17-year-old named Rivertress. Truss has a fetish for shaving a body hair, and would often project this onto his audience of children, inquiring if they would prefer him to be shaved or not. This is evidenced by both his mentions of this on Twitter with the children that he took a liking to, but also in his interactions in the Red Circus, which is only one of many Discord servers that we have discovered Truss to be active in. And yes, it is in fact a shaving fetish that Truss was projecting onto these children, not some morbid curiosity. People frequently defended Hoodatress's public interactions with these children, not knowing that he was projecting his fetish onto minors, asking probing questions about their genital shaving preferences. This culminated with Johnny Soleil, the 15-year-old, actually issuing an apology for getting groomed by Who to Trust, no pun intended. His 15-year-old brain conjured up the very well thought out points that it is all just a big joke. He also stated that even if it was a serious romance, God forbid, that there is only a 4-year age difference. He then goes on to erroneously cite the Romeo and Juliet laws of the United States, which were only actually meant to protect high schoolers that got into romantic relationships before one of them graduated. As a cherry on top, he adds that he was never uncomfortable with this grown man's attraction to him, which is reassuring to say the least. He then released a full-fledged apology as the outrage grew. Bear in mind that only the 15-year-old is apologizing, as Who to Trust literally acts like none of this happened in the first place. The apology unironically reveals that Truss had been playing truth or dare with a 15-year-old, which is totally well-adjusted behavior for someone of his age. He claims that their romantic relationship was all a big inside joke that all of their followers were in on, and that he started it so it is 100% okay. He then claims that they have only ever spoken privately twice, despite admitting in the first paragraph that they literally played truth or dare together. This sentiment was shared not only by the people in the community, but their parents too. There were numerous cases of the parents of the kids that Who to Trust interacted with straight up telling their kids to stay away from this man. One of the biggest Roblox YouTubers, Kaneko Kitten, reached out to me and essentially informed me that he wanted nothing to do with Who to Trust, sensing that someone was in fact very off about this whole situation. Following his break from Twitter, Who to Trust attempted to salvage his image by only posting when he donated to charities, and limiting his interactions to spaces like the Red Circus, where he made the mistake of thinking that no one would be watching.
Back to
you masturbate to your own website?
Yeah, it's jam-packed full of pornography. Why not?
This is Juniper. He's at the ripe age of 39 years old. He is the founder of E621, the largest and most popular furry porn art image board there is besides Furfinity, which he too also helped during its infancy. He was actually permanently banned from Furfinity because of drama, and a big fucking do not harass this user label on his account. Let's see what he did with E621 after being targeted.
Handed it off to Bad Dragon. Worker for Bad Dragon took over running it for me because it got to be a lot of stress. Major problem was that there was this furry who was called Insane Kangaroo, and their big Second Amendment gun nut, they'd actually got banned from some conventions for open carrying at a furry con. And they made a threat because they didn't like the website and they didn't like me, and I was just like, you know what, this site is not worth getting shot over.
Do you hear that? It was because he was stressed out. This Insane Kangaroo person just didn't like him or the site. That's why he was filing all these takedown requests. I'm glad your vague reasoning explains everything. Over 10 years later, you can't even explicitly explain as to why you took the site down. Even in an interview of all things. You were being investigated by the FBI for child sexual exploitation material, which is the exact same thing that Insane Kangaroo was bitching about in the first place. Thank God Insane Kangaroo cares about the children. I mean, he really deeply cares about the children. A little too much. Juniper then sold the website to Varka along with its site data. It's not like Juniper has an extensive history with defending and consuming cup pornography, and then spurging out on Twitter when people call you a pedophile piece of shit. You masturbate to cup pornography and fantasize about being the child within the explicit material. But remember, don't go and harass them. He's gonna have a panic attack. Well, at least Varka is a mentally sound individual. He runs a company after all, so maybe he'll be more competent than Juniper. He runs a company called Bad Dragon and owns majority of the financial stake in the adult furry scene. Varka admits he got his business knowledge from a really interesting person in particular. Let's take a gander at this post by Varka. Let's zoom in on this part of the message right here so the folks at home can just see it in all its glory. Some deep lore that we're going to take a look at. Then I got into contact with a competitor, which had everything but a technical solution, including real proper funding, and the best leader I've ever met, who made 100 million or so in the dot-com boom, and lost it all on 9/11. Got involved in smuggling and did 2 years for possession of 150 kilograms of cocaine. Came out the other end a changed man and started a private company. I had the technical solution but no business, tax, financial, or management experience, which meant that when we merged the two companies into Banachie, I was in the perfect position to concentrate on what I wanted to do most, manage the technical side of stuff. I've since learned about how business works. This best leader and changed man that Varka is referring to is none other than the very infamous and popular Douglas Spink, who is the co-founder of Banachie. He is a drug smuggler and prolific animal rapist and is the most well-known zoophile besides Kara the Wolf and Seppo. Spinks has ran his very own animal sex ranch and has evaded police for several years, raping more and more animals along the way. He started a pro-zoophile podcast called Zooier Than Thou with another zoophile called Toggle the Rat. This podcast is dedicated to spreading zoophilic teachings and even describes in graphic detail as to how to rape animals and get away with it. They only have zoophiles as guests on their podcast, unsurprisingly, and Douglas eventually died in 2020 due to ass cancer. That's unfortunate. What an awful ending to a lighthearted and wholesome story. Let's see what Varka's company is all about. Maybe it's something, more positive, something to lighten the mood. Bad Dragon is an animal sex toy company that was founded in 2008. It specializes in making very realistic animal dildos and fleshlights, and other animal-related adult toys. He even ran a website called Herpy.net, which was described to be a mature aggregator and interactive community for artists, writers, and fans of everything herpetophilia and xenophilia, including ornithophilia. If you're wondering what those paraphilias are, allow me to educate you on them. Herpetophilia is having the love or sexual attraction towards reptiles, scalies, or mythological creatures, or dinosaurs. Xenophilia is having the love or sexual attraction towards beings which is different from one's native experience, or the sexual attraction towards aliens. Ornithophilia is having the love or sexual attraction towards birds and avians. With this information on hand, it's pretty safe to assume that this site is dedicated to sexually abusing and raping reptiles or bird pets. I mean, every time the site is brought up, it's always been alluded as that. I even went on the Wayback Machine and it's purposely excluded from the archives. Content relating to Herpy.net can still be found on the Wayback Machine, such as their logo, but just hidden from the general public from what I can see. The only thing that is sort of left of the original site is a post on something awful. Furry pornography is zoophilia, real or fiction. It is having the sexual arousal or attraction towards a non-human animal. This includes sexual fantasy, which is one of the most common, and the lesser common of that being bestiality. They will usually defend their degeneracy by stating it's not the same as real animals because of the human features and characteristics that are usually attributed to the characters. This being such as humanoid bodies, human intelligence, and are able to speak, and most importantly, give consent. I totally agree entirely. This isn't some bizarre reasoning to deflect or hide the fact that you are aroused by interspecial sexual intercourse at all. I'm confident that your pornographic taste isn't at all reflective of what you're sexually into, real or not. No downplaying here. Being sexually attracted or aroused by the idea of fucking non-human animals totally isn't zoophilia. We're aroused by the human parts, not just the animal parts. You can't see reality from fantasy. The Fur Science is a pro-furry organization that specializes in studying furries and their fandom to increase the understanding of furries and to break the stigma against furries. Luckily, they conducted a search on furry porn consumption at a FurryCon a couple years back. To prove that furries aren't porn addicted like the general public loves to claim so, let's take a gander at the statistics that they've provided. Does pornography draw people into the furry fandom? Oh, well that's a relief. It seems like I was wrong. It's a very small percentage that's lured in. How many furries view furry-themed pornography, and are there gender differences? Well, given what we were just told, this is obviously going to be very low since pornography obviously doesn't yield that much of effect to our little critters over here. Both men and female furries guess around that 83% of male furries view furry pornography, and that 70% of female furries view furry pornography. Alright, those are some pretty high estimates by the furries, but the actual statistics will be much lower than that, I'm sure. We're mainly going to be focusing on the men here, as men naturally have higher libidos than women, so women will be marginally lower. Do you view furry pornography? 96.3% of furry men say yes. 78.3% of furry women say yes. 96.3%. That means almost every male furry that they asked this question said yes to viewing furry pornography. Less than 4% of furry men do not view furry pornography. Nearly 80% of furry women also view furry pornography. You know, for something that apparently does not attract people into the fandom and is considered a small portion of it, these statistics are abnormally high. This is not even including the fact that some of the furries could be lying about not viewing furry pornography either, so the percentage could be even higher than that. Okay, well this just proves that they viewed it at one point. We don't even know how often they consume pornographic furry content. Don't worry, my friend, they've got that covered too. What percentage of furry art do you view as pornographic? Men, 50.9%. Women, 30.7%. What percentage of furry art do you own is pornographic? Men, 20.9%. Women, 8.7%. When you roleplay online, what percentage of the time is it sexual? Men, 34%. Women, 21.4%. Admittedly, that's pretty fucking awful. It can't get any worse than this. In the last month, how often did you view pornography? Men, 43.5 times. Women, 10.5 times. That is watching porn every day of the month, sometimes twice a day. Even for the women, they watch pornography a lot too. Once again, these are just from the furries that are willing to admit to this shit. In actuality, it might be far worse than what we're being told. This is the only study that this organization did on furry porn consumption, by the way. It hasn't made any follow-up or any other study similar in nature that I could find. I can't even really blame the research team at the First Science for not even continuing to do so. Given how utterly fucking embarrassing these results are, it didn't really disprove anything. In fact, it just kind of reinforced the idea that furries are completely addicted to pornography.
So this is Trusty Truss. He's like some Trusty Truss or something. He's in our user-generated content program. I mean, we really don't do background checks or anything like that. He has been showing me some weird fetish shit. You see that on the screen? I'm pretty sure he is a closeted pedophile. Because I don't know who talks to kids like that except for, you know, child molesters. Another we got on the team is John Drinkin. I think, seriously, what kind of fucking stupid name is John Drinkin? Anyway, he's another who's in the same program as Trusty. I'm also pretty sure that he wants to genuinely fuck animals. He's been, he also kept mentioning something about naturals, which I am almost certainly positive is some little euphemism to refer to feral artwork, meaning he gets a little hard on from essentially seeing animals fuck each other. His little pee-pee gets erect, named, I think, like Guest Capone or something. He's another. Also, unsurprisingly, he tried to upload furry-related pornographic content onto our site. You know, like references to that one website, E621. I think it's like some furry porn site. By the way, I forgot to mention that all these three know each other. And they also talk about orgies at the RDC, which is our official developer conference that we host for developers on Roblox. Yeah, we should have, we kind of shouldn't have like hired these people. They are, I mean, they like to play dress up in their spare time. I guess it's their way of expressing themselves, but then again, I don't flirt with 15-year-old girls, so I wouldn't really know anything about that. We are more than likely going to liquidate the rest of the UGC program or whatever the fucking thing's called. I've already forgotten about it, to be honest. But we're going to overhaul it. Or not. Honestly, it's generating money somehow. Half the time I forget we even pay these people. I say people in big quotations because they're not really people to me. And they honestly shouldn't be around children or remotely be allowed on our platform, let alone our team that creates accessories for children. I don't know. Does this look like something that an 8 to 10-year-old would enjoy wearing? Does this look like something a child would put onto their Roblox avatar? I haven't even brought up the furry fetish games up either. This is just the Roblox catalog. Oh, and the owner of this game is a pedophile too, if you weren't aware of that. There is also the Roblox group system or clans, whatever you want to call it. And there was this massive furry group on Roblox. I think it had around 200,000 members. That's a lot of fursuits, but the owner of that group was exposed to also be a child predator. Whenever a user on Roblox is exposed to be a pedophile or has shown strange and flirtatious behavior towards kids, we don't really do anything about it. We don't even report them to the police. Usually justice is only served when the FBI steps in. I mean, when the people who glow in the dark are doing a better job at moderating the platform than us. That's kind of a problem.
Today's screenshot is of him bragging about his public sexual exploits in a server full of kids, admitting to have met up with multiple members of the server in person, going so far as to procreate with one of them over 7 times in a public area. Bear in mind that if caught, this would land most normal people on a sex offender registry, which seems to be of no concern to our friend Trust. Publicly flirted with kids on Twitter, and now, in a stunning turn of events, recounts how hilarious it was to hear about homeless people getting shined in the face by a laser pointer. You heard me right. What better way to influence your adolescent audience to do good things in the world than to try blinding homeless people with laser pointers? Don't you worry, guys. Great people like Evan Bear 1, who work for great companies like GameFam, will pretend that it isn't happening and only acknowledge it when it becomes inconvenient. Who to Trust has established that he is completely safe to be around children. Minus, of course, when he is in Discord's Twitter or any place that children can be found. Whether he's getting faded before talking to a group of kids and bragging about it, or flirting with the very children that buys products on the internet, Who to Trust has consistently shown that he deserves every cent of the millions of dollars Roblox Corporation has given, which makes me wonder, how can he not afford his own pegging toy? And why does he have to ask for someone else to buy him one in a Discord full of kids? Questions humanity may never answer. Feel free to ask Evan Bear 1 though. He's more than happy to post selfies with this amazing human being and call out anyone with the nerve to bring up these completely innocent actions. Also, the BD toy that John Drinkin is referring to here is a Bad Dragon model of a horse's body part that completely sane people use for innocent purposes.
Roblox is giving this man millions of dollars. He's incredibly popular both with his fans and his fellow developers, who will defend his behavior till the very end. The members of the Discord have already attempted to purge it and rid it of anyone that could talk about what has happened here, but the news is out there. We have cataloged every last message, every last ID, every last image sent in every channel of this Discord, and intend on making them public soon. Who to Trust has recently left the Tower Defense Studios Discord in a poor attempt at damage control, but the cat is out of the bag. People know what you did, they will remember, and it is only a matter of time before justice finds its way to your very paws. Thank you Valevic for facilitating a lot of this content, and aiding in the collection of this information. I appreciate everyone who has stayed this long to watch this video, and hope that anyone who doubts the validity or legitimacy of this content reaches out to me in the comments to be provided message links, IDs, and recordings of the messages being pulled up. I do not believe that all furries are terrible people. I do believe that these people are doing terrible things, and many huge community figueras are enabling and encouraging them. This backlash will only grow and impact the platform for everyone, with more stringent moderation, false terminations, and less social features, unless we as a community act to police these things on our own and call out the people responsible for them.